The day passed slowly as Gustavo waited for Tamires' test results so she could be released. He wanted her safely at home, and he was sure she must be impatient to see Sophia. But he was terrified of all of the questions she would ask. Choices always bring consequences, good or bad. This truth had certainly materialized in his life, in unquestionable and tangible ways. It was difficult to admit that his choice, his mistake, had put her in that hospital bed, and now life was demanding he go back and reverse his course, to make up for his past wrong. It was a commanding cry. He could hear it clearly. Tell her the truth, Gustavo. No, and no. I'm a coward, I can't do it, he thought, shaking his head. Gustavo felt a stab of fear in his chest at the thought of what telling her would mean. Even if you don't tell her, she'll find out on her own. That was the inevitable truth. Nature would lead Tamires to her destiny. Maybe, if I tell her first, if I confess what I did, she'll see my remorse and will be able to forgive me. He squeezed his eyes shut to control his fear. He felt worse because of his lack of willpower to confess. He didn't know where to find the courage. Justice will be done if she leaves me, he thought sadly. Maybe that's what I deserve for what I did. Perhaps only after such suffering can I really be absolved and live alone in peace. But there was another very important piece in this high-stakes game. Sophia. Sweet Sophia with her black eyes and curly hair. So much like me, he thought with a smile. Falling in love with Tamires had never been in Gustavo's plans when he decided to stay in the city years ago. The choice he had made to abandon his other life and to make a home in Foz do Iguaçu had nothing to do with her and everything to do with himself. He had been tired of his master, of taking orders, of being forced to do everything the master commanded, and to free himself, he needed to leave his true home. He picked Foz because he liked the energy of the place. The city's energy was intense, alive, and constant, as if the magnificent falls themselves imbued the people and the town with their spirit. Gustavo had sensed that it was a place that could give him something of what had been his home before then. He was very homesick at first, but Gustavo had already made his choice, and it was irreversible, and he truly didn't want to go back to being someone else's captive. It was then that nature played its biggest trick on him. It fated him to cross paths with Tamires. He was drawn to her in a most primal elemental way. His body was thirsty for her body. His mouth called out for her lips. Her hair exuded the hypnotizing perfume of the wind of the falls. But it was more than just a sexual attraction. They were joined by an intense and unbreakable bond. He had moved to Foz to be free, and yet after meeting Tamires, there was no more escape for him. As he looked at her in the hospital bed, Gustavo thought that for Tamires to stay alive and happy, it would be better if he left her. She and Sophia would certainly have a fuller life, and he would be happy to know that he had made their lives better by leaving. Selfishness is a human failing so strong that it erased this last altruistic thought from Gustavo's head. No, he would not be happy if they were far away from him, even if his absence kept them safe. Maybe death would be my only release if they left me. He turned again to the window of the hospital waiting room. The sun was setting in the afternoon sky, but for Gustavo, the hours continued to drag on, as if it wanted to prolong his anxiety. A nurse called him. "Gustavo de Valle? The doctor would like to speak with you about your wife. Follow me." Gustavo did as she asked. When he was led into the doctor's office instead of Tamires's room, he became uneasy. "Please sit down," the doctor said when they were alone.